My colleague Mbide Stephen is with the Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago, and we want to understand how is he holding up. We just have a few days to elections. Him as a mayor, what does he make of this? Mbide?
Yes, good morning to you, Andrew Chamagero. Of course, the Lord Mayor was anticipating that maybe by yesterday would have heard from the court whether we'll be able to move out today and go ahead to campaign with massive rallies in Kampala. But with what's happening from the courts of law, from the security angle, and from the affairs within the political field, we want to understand from his perspective, are we on the road to a credible election with what is happening right now? What is your view, the Lord Mayor? Do you think that we shall this time around have that credible, free and fair election? Because I know the Supreme Court has been speaking about electoral reforms, the government tabled them and made some declarations that will lead us to a credible election. But with the current circumstances, how do you read the script?
Well, I think you have said it all in your opening remarks, because right now I'm a candidate who should be in the field, but here I am, grounded here. And you have seen the equipment here, which cost lots of money. This truck and everything and the troops, all of us are here. That is at the level of the Lord Mayor of Kampala. But countrywide, including presidential candidates, you're witnessing what is happening. These are not conventional campaigns they are conducting. Each campaign is graced with brutality, is treated with violence, tear gas, and so on and so forth. So there are no civic engagements. There is no interaction between the leaders and the electorate. There is no communication about the manifestos, the ideas, the ideologies, and the agenda of different political actors. And that's the reason we went to court and said, look here, if there is any moment in time where freedom of expression should make meaning, it is this one, where you need to express yourself before the electorate. They get to understand you, what you stand for, what you have up your sleeves, and they take a decision on the premise of what you have promised them. But this cannot happen. Anyway, the long and short of it is that we have an electoral process, an election, where the incumbent is the state candidate, where you have a contest. This is not an election. Let me sum it up like this. It's a contest between the state or the state machinery and the people of Uganda. And that's what has defined the situation, the prevailing environment in the country.
Okay, we have the managers of this election, the Electoral Commission, has time and again has been coming up with different declarations. And just yesterday we saw they are banning anyone, any political group or individuals trying to come up with independent tally centers. In 2016, I remember the opposition, or the FDC then, the F4GC had a tally center in Naguru. The security went and broke into it. And this time around, we see different voices coming up with calls for having independent tally centers. I don't know whether you are a member of FDC, a member of FDC. Are you this time around going to have also another independent tally center? And what do you think about the declaration by Justice Simon Byabakama?
Well, the declaration, I'll start with the declaration by Justice Byabakama. It's all about this choreographed system intended to propel the candidate of Yoweri Museveni. I've already summarized the situation, the prevailing situation. I've summed it up for you. It's a contest between the state and the people. And all the state agencies are aligned to your...
The NRM candidate is still the incumbent, the head of state.
No, you wait a minute. There should be a distinction between Museveni, the candidate, and Museveni, the head of state. We should be seeing less of Museveni as the head of state in this situation, as a candidate. In this situation, when he's running for the same office, we should be seeing less of him. Just like you have seen less of Lukwago as the Lord Mayor. You get it? Because he has got a deputy. Anyway, the deputy could also be a candidate, the vice president. But there is a prime minister who should be now in charge of the state affairs. He should be issuing communications on behalf of government. But even where there are threats and whatnot, even matters of security, instead of letting the spokesperson for the UPDF, the spokesperson for police and all these other security agencies, it is him who is issuing statements. So it's in that line that Byabakama is also acting for and on behalf of Mr. Yoweri Museveni, just like any other institution of state, because he's perceived and taken as a state candidate. And that's the crux of the matter. So a state candidate uses all the state institution, the state machinery, to buttress his campaign, to buttress his candidature, to prepare himself ahead of his competitors. And exactly that's what is happening. All these security agencies, that's the reason they're working for Mr. Museveni. Even the institutions that you would ordinarily you would look to be independent. But what is happening right now?
Okay, Mr. Lukwago, what would you want to be seen? Because on 20th, you're supposed to be lining up to, people are supposed to be, Bana Kampala, supposed to be lining up to vote for the new Lord Mayor. But common sense will tell you that from 13th or even 12th to around 18th or 17th, you virtually cannot even hold a rally because, one, you'll be having the presidential and parliamentary elections, but also tomorrow we know that the court may declare that you go ahead and hold the rallies. But when you look at the time, you have less time. What would you want to see done to have a free, credible election and campaign process that we are within the time we are remaining with?
I wouldn't want to speculate much about the outcome of the court process. Well, the ruling was supposed to be delivered yesterday, but we are advised that we are told that the judge lost a brother, which is really very unfortunate. We sympathize with him, and the ruling was postponed tomorrow. So regardless of the outcome, already it's very clear that the security agencies, the security apparatus, will not allow any activity here. And Mr. Byabakama, you've seen him on a daily basis, is issuing guidelines. What kind of exercise is this? It's like you are in the middle of the game. Every time you score, every time you're about to score, he shifts goalposts. He issues new guidelines, new rules. Common sense dictates that, common sense and logic dictates that before you enter into the game, the rules must be very clear. The rules of the game, the rules of the engagements must be clearly defined from the beginning up to the end. Now, right now, what is happening right now? You'd ask Mr. Byabakama.
What would you want to be done in 1
minute?
minute?
On a daily basis, he's issuing those guidelines. This is what I've told you. The gentleman is working for Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, just like any other institutions. What we are doing, what we would like him to do is not the issue, but what we should be doing.
What are you going to be
for
doing?
Us as people who are involved, who are for the people, against the state candidate Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, we have no choice but to come together. And the efforts are already underway. You've seen the process spearheaded by Dr. Pokawanga Semogere.
This week and previous?
Yes, previous. You know, it's not only this week. Actually, this week was to sign an additional protocol, to operationalize what we have already agreed upon.
As United Forces of Change.
As United Forces of Change, as a platform for unity in diversity, where we come together to weave out a mechanism of defending the will of the people. Whether we like it or not, the divide is very clear.
Thank you.
It's between Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and the people of Uganda. And the forces of change that are for the will of the people, we must come together to defend the will of the people before and after the election. So that is the spirit of what we are talking about, what we are doing right now, we are engaged in. And I thank very much Dr. Pokawanga Semogere for sparing some time during his retirement to spearhead this process.
Thank you so much, Senior Counsel Elias Lukwago. He's the Vice President of the People's Government and also in the incumbent Lord Mayor. I have to hand you back to Andrew Chamagero in the studios for the rest of the Quiet programming. Stephen Imdom Fefes, which have been here in Wakaliga, wishing you a nice Thursday.